Hi, I'm Steph Ritz. Welcome to day 6 of our 10-day video storytelling challenge, Stories That Sell. Today's focus question is, what type of people influence your business relationships or your niche? And I'm going to give you a heads up right now. This is a question that you can answer. It is purposely written to be able to answer it in many different ways at different times, depending on what's coming up for you. So to get a little focus on that, I am going to go back to our handy dandy epic story prompts. Today I'm going to pull this one that says, when did you bite off more than you can chew? So what type of people influence your business relationships or your niche, and how does that relate to when you bit off more than you can chew? So it's, to me, pretty funny that when I think about what it is that I've bit off that's way more than I can chew, is typically in those moments where I've chosen to do something and I've not even questioned whether or not I could. It never even rolled into my mind. When I was 18 and my grandma was having a stroke, it wasn't a question of, well, who's gonna do it? It's, well, okay, I'm here now, let's make it happen. And it just became my life. When I became a photographer, it was because I happened to give the man that I was dating at a time a ride to his photography job. It just so happened that his boss was at the same job, and it just so happened that they were short-handed. It also happened to be working with children. Had I not been an educator for the last 18 years, I don't know if I would have had the same comfort level around those children as I would later on when I was going and shooting like MIT's graduation. So it all depends on who you're around and your comfort level. So how did I become a professional photographer without knowing how to handle or put film into the camera? It was because it was right time, right place. I showed up confidently, never questioning if I could. Just, all right, you need someone? Here I am. Here I am. So, if this is what's landing in my lap, and I happen to say yes to that opportunity, that is how I've kind of ended up everywhere in my business. It's what's brought me forward. It's my stepdad's book. When, he passed away, it wasn't a question of if I could do it. It was that I was literally the only person left who had lived through these stories with him, who understood what the book meant to him, but also knew the fun stories behind the paintings, the stories that would then become the biography that supports his word and his message in his autobiography, and how we could publish that all as one book. That's all because I knew that I was the person to do it. I was the one who had lived with him. I was the one who had taken the time to sit and listen to his stories because it fascinated me, because this was my stepdad, because this is the house that I was living in at the time. So it never crossed my mind of whether I could do it or not, which is interesting when you become an entrepreneur, when you're running your own business, when you go out and formalize it, get your LLC, launch your website, all of a sudden it's a different story. When you have to go create it for yourself versus something landing in your lap, an opportunity arising and saying yes. And what I've realized is that the people who influence me most and my niche most are the magicians of the world. The people who you think it, you create it, and it comes forward naturally. A funny story in the same way was, while I'm looking at doing this program, I don't have the money to pay for it in my account right now. Lo and behold, I was in a car accident. My car has totaled, and while I need a new car, I now have cash on hand to invest in a program if I want to or not. So whatever it is that you want, you can go and create it. And those are the people that make up my business relationships and my niche. It's not a set demographic of men or women of this age, of this color, of this experience, of this ethnicity, of this socioeconomic status. No. And if most of you are educators, or some of you have been through this, you understand it's so much more the mindset that the people are bringing. And for me, that means you have to come from your heart. I've learned some amazing things from different coaches, internet marketers, from people, business owners, and the like. But when you fall out of your heart space, it becomes an entirely different game. I'm going to be straight up front and mention that I just got a video back that I created. It was a gift, an add-on, something that I was at. There was a photographer there, but I was more intense about getting it done than getting it right. And even though I have this lovely produced for me video, it's nothing that I ever want to show the world, because I'm not coming from me. I'm not coming from a place that is speaking from what I know is true. It's speaking from a place of you must listen, and it changes everything when you change how you're showing up. So I know I've gone a little bit long. Thank you for listening.